Hello there and welcome back to our random bullshit stupidity that is Taken Off Air, where I currently look like a rabbi thanks to the hat that I am wearing. Jordan is looking lovely in his hoodie and has a topic for us this week, which we can get to. And Stefan is looking down on the world upon us.
On the mere morals.
Yes.
Peasants.
So, we don't have a Jay again this week. He's busy at work because we all work and have normal lives, unfortunately.
We are being let out to play.
Unfortunately, we have lives.
What's that?
Speak for yourself.
I mean, when we started the podcast, we didn't really have lives, so, you know.
When we started the podcast...
And nothing's changed them.
When we started the podcast, COVID wasn't a thing either.
That's true, and then we took like a year's break. Should I just have me hat like that? No.
I don't know what's going on right now with your headwear.
It's because it's not technically headwear. It's like one of the masks that you have round your neck that you put over your head. A snood or something. I don't know.
Snood.
Why did you say it like that?
Snood. Don't know.
A snood.
It's because I've got it like this on my head, and I look like a Jewish pastor, so I have to say everything with sh because it's shalom.
Stefan, can you remember when Czech Toyota wore snood?
Yes.
They got banned in football.
Right. These two have
that's the things that need banned.
These two have bets on the football because the idiots.
Mine's a free bet.
I don't.
I don't lose any money if I lose.
Mine's only for $2.50.
My good luck goes on horses. I won Cheltenham and the National this year.
Yeah, but how much did you win?
But I got money back off that.
Right, I won 620 odd on Cheltenham, and then 30 odd quid on the National.
And where did all that money go?
Up your arse to the left.
Pretty much.
Right.
Back on bets that he lost.
I am going to start with the first topic, which I think will be a little bit of an inside joke, because we have sort of been talking about it for the past 5 minutes, but not really. It's just like a hint. And it is actually about bamboo.
Oh, bamboo.
Oh, I never knew you were going to talk about bamboo.
Because we were filing something, so we were
to be revealed in the near future.
Yes, because
Why did you say that as German?
We do have plans and stuff.
Because it is a tribute to the German.
The German. It is because it is the German's plan, so it is a tribute to the Germans that the near future will be coming from him.
Oh, it was my plan, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
I'm sitting all confused about what's going on. I was the one that suggested it.
Stefan, sometimes we think you were born confused.
Oh, what was? Maybe. I can't remember.
All right. Can anybody guess how many kilometers per hour this
6.
bamboo grows?
110.
I'd be
fucking amazed at that.
It's like a Formula 1 car.
Yeah.
Show us, dear Russian leader.
Show me the money.
It is 0.00003 of a kilometer. It's basically...
Wow.
This is... It's the official world record for a bamboo plant. It's a if anybody wants to read up on it, it's a bamboo called... I had it up. Do I still have it up? Bima bamboo.
That's private and I don't want to know.
Bamboo. I'm not too sure if it was scientifically created because it looks like it's been made as a sort of hybrid. But
Bima species.
It was created in the United Kingdom, so it can grow here. So I'm highly tempted to grow it, and it's a certain species of the 45 genera of bamboo, which have been found to grow at up to 91 centimeters or 35 inches per day, or at a rate of 0.00002 mile an hour. According to the RHS Directory of Gardening, because apparently there is such a thing, there are approximately 1,000 species
Society
of bamboos.
Bamboo.
Bamboos.
It says
that's the alcoholic
it says
version.
bamboos. The tallest recorded in the tropics was reportedly 40 meters or 130 feet in Europe, and in the USA, 20 to 30 meters or 65 to 98 feet have been the tallest. So the tropics have much better chances of growing it, but it can grow other places. But yeah, you can get a plant which grows 35 inches per day, which means it is highly sustainable, highly usable, and is used quite a lot in things such as bamboo's already used quite a lot in places like the Philippines for just about everything. They use it as a knife to cut off a newborn baby's umbilical cord, and also
I didn't know where you were going there.
also use bamboo poles to lower
Especially with that
coffins
headwear.
into the graves when the person dies. Everybody knows of bamboo houses, like it's traditional. You've probably seen it in movies
don't.
about the Viet Cong and all that sort of stuff, where it's built with bamboo splits, or it's got woven bamboo mats, and bamboo shoots are also a nourishing food. And the Philippines itself has 82 species of it. So the Philippines are doing really well on the sustainability when using it. But basically, I keep on saying basically, I need to stop saying that. Shut up, Kyle.
Yes, you basically do.
But yes, I think that we should start using bamboo for more stuff. Growing bamboo and using it for certain things such as utensils and stuff. I already like the idea of like bamboo cutting boards and bamboo utensils and all that sort of stuff. But I just think it's a really good product that is highly sustainable when it grows at that like quick of a rate. The only issue I've got with it is if we start making it a popular, sustainable thing, we will probably end up paying people £2 an hour to grow it in a foreign country and then ship it all over here, and pollute the world more with shipping it than actually if we just left it.
So your worry is that we're going to pollute the world growing bamboo. That's your biggest worry about us right now.
No, my worry is in trying to find sustainable options, we are polluting the world more because most
us as a country. I thought you meant us as a company.
No, us as a world, because the issue is that like whenever something sustainable comes around, it's usually sourced from like a place where it grows better, like the Philippines where it grows really well, which means shipping it all over the world from there, which is a good idea, but also means pollution, because you've got ships and planes that'll be flying it and shipping it all over the world, trucks and lorries delivering it all over the place.
I think I found a website that's got like a shitload of information on Bima Bamboo. Bima Bamboo.
Bima Bamboo, is it the monthly agriculture website?
It is the Bima Bamboo blogspot.
Ah.
I can't take it when everyone's just saying Bima Bamboo.
Bima Bamboo. Bamboo.
Right, it says here.
I can't think of bamboo without thinking of bottom.
Actually,
the live
I'll just
show
show
bottom.
you.
Bamboo.
Bottom. Whenever someone.
Yeah. It's Jordan.
Yes, Jordan. Or would you like me to fill in the gap while you're reading through?
No, it's not that. I'm
doing work.
No, I'm trying to get this to share.
Yeah, from what I've seen, Bima Bamboo, I don't know if it's been like genetically designed. I think a couple of the articles suggested it was, because it's meant to be like 3 times the thickness of normal bamboo, which is why it's so sustainable and so like useful in things such as cutlery and bits and pieces like that. Is like, as Jordan's shown in the picture, it's 3 times the thickness of normal bamboo. And it's
and it's not hollow in the middle.
Yeah, and it's fast growing. It can be hollow because the thickness varies. It just sort of depends, but it can be completely solid as well. So it's really sustainable. It's really good. Yeah. I do love the idea of using bamboo stuff like utensils and all this sort of stuff. I love bamboo as a material. I think it's fantastic.
Please say this is moving down on the screen.
It is moving down, but it hasn't moved for... There we go, now it's moving down a bit. Please click OK on the bit that says this site uses cookies, for God's sake.
Click no.
There's only OK and learn more, for goodness heaven's sake. Please do not click learn more, because you'll be spammed to some terms and conditions page that no one reads.
You click learn more and then you you reject all cookies because they use them to track you. I'll show you something after.
I don't care about people tracking us. They can track us if they want. I'm pretty sure I've already got the bloody CIA, FBI, MI6, police, and all sorts.
Oh,
It's even
so
got
Oh, sorry, I get distracted.
It's got the cost of cultivation as well.
What's the cost of cultivation? Because I can bet you the British Empire and many other empires would
In
shorten
Bima
it.
bamboo, cost of cultivation varies every year. 90,000 to 100,000 Rs for first 2 year, and then 17,000 to 19,000 every year after 2 year.
Bars.
Rs.
R's.
Arr.
Right, okay. Does it say what the R stands for, like what country?
Where if it's Indian, it'll be rupees. Rupees.
I don't know, because it's... I don't know if it's Indian. It just depends. It could be Real.
It says here, suitable for Indian condition only.
What if it's in Spain in the past, Kyle?
Yeah, exactly. Could be.
And then suitable application of Bima bamboo
Bima bamboo.
is biomass for power generation projects.
Yes, which
Paper
I
industries.
love the idea of. Literally biogenerators.
Construction and furniture, and handicrafts and cottage industries.
Yeah, it can be used for more than that, because that's like a tiny bit. It says paper industries, construction, furniture, bits and pieces. It could be used for a lot more than that. I think they've just decided, right, we're going to do the 4 main ones, because it does say construction, furniture, and bits like that.
It also says Bima bamboo is recommended for large-scale plantation, energy plantation for power generation, homestead garden planting, large reforestation programs, and land reclamation in mines, soil-deck,
Yeah, because
soils,
it'll
waterlogged areas.
Because it'll probably grow in hardy areas and then fertilize the soil for other plants to start growing there. Stefan, you know about plants.
Yes, dear. A little bit.
Wood bamboo. Sorry, I've got a sneeze going on.
Trees are made of it.
No, wood bamboo. Like if you does bamboo spread in the like, you know how you've got trees that you plant one and then it'll sort of spread itself, and eventually, if you give it enough time, make a forest. It's self-spreading, self. Yeah.
It's generally that is done by self-seeding plants. So plants that will grow, ash trees or the prime example in this area of where we live. They drop seeds onto the floor and then they germinate themselves. In a sense, yes, it will multiply if left over to devices in nature, as long as the conditions are right. But it's not really through the same process.
Yeah, I'm guessing it would be extremely slow, because you were saying before this that it, like, is it just one species or is it all the species that only flower every decade or two?
No, I think there are species, so I think it's some species. It's definitely not all, but I think there's certainly one or two or several species of bamboo that flower once every few decades and all over the world at the same time. So scientists don't know how or why, because it doesn't matter what country they're in, what climate they're in, anything. It's just that this bamboo that hasn't flowered for years, and all of a sudden everywhere, all at once, all over the world, will flower. And yeah,
it's because it's magic.
I assume it's in built biological.
Yeah, I mean, like
reaction, if you like.
Yeah, in built biological like instructions and like clock and everything. Which makes sense because, like we've said in the past, you've got like the birds with migratory patterns and stuff like that. There is actually a shark which it does migrate, but it migrates vertically. So when
flies?
No, it dives.
I've never seen a shark fly.
It dives deeper. When certain times of the year, when the waters, I can't remember if it's when the waters heat up or cool, it basically dives deeper, so it migrates. But it just goes deeper instead of going to a different part of the planet. So it's really good.
I would assume.
As
you go lower, it gets colder. So I would assume that it probably lives in a temperature where, or a part of the ocean where it's a little bit warm for it, so it lives quite far down.
Yeah.
And I would assume that as it gets colder, maybe it gets too cold for it to come up. Unless it's a shark that likes cold waters, and if it lived where there's usually cold waters, there might be a point where, in the summer or something, where the water's too warm for it, and when the water gets too warm for it, it might go down, because it'll be colder further down.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think it's one of the bigger sharks, like a whale shark or something. It's a big shark.
I know there's
but it's
Greenland sharks. Have you seen them, Kyle?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
They live to hundreds of years old. Only discovered properly recently. They live to hundreds of years old. They live exclusively in the Arctic, and they are so slow and docile that they found them literally by like going up and just be like scooting because they swim so slowly. But that's how they live so long, is because they've got such a slow everything, slow heart rate, slow metabolism, slow digestion. Everything is in slow motion for them, so therefore they live to be 100. I think the one they found was like 230 odd year olds or something.
Yeah, well, they found sharks that are like 300 years old, and they're absolutely ancient. And people have just found them like wandering around in bits and pieces. But if
Will's here and he's taking the piss out of you already.
He is. I know. I noticed. Yes, Will. I know. I know.
Noticed.
Bamboo is wood. I also know that when you see bamboo typically in games and stuff, it does have a bit of leaf and all that sort of thing. I was just wondering if it spread the same way as trees, where those leaves would fall and then it would grow another bamboo plant, or if it has to have some sort of specific thing to do it. Because I know it wouldn't be like pollination, like an animal would come along and steal it and stuff. But you know.
Yeah, I read it out. Yeah.
Yes, I did have to read it out.
He's a bit slow, but he got there. He's going to out you for your shenanigans.
Don't worry, I'm not going to read out your project movie. But no, I find sharks really interesting. I've loved them for years. I do want to go.
I thought you were going to say it back to me, and I don't know why.
No, I do want to go diving with sharks at some point. Everybody thinks they're really aggressive. The majority of them are highly docile. There's a couple where you don't really want to get into the water with at certain times, such as I think it's bull sharks. They will basically just eat anything that's in the way. So if you go to them while they're feeding, if you can dive with sharks quite normally and they'll be all peaceful. But if you go to them while they're in the middle of feeding, you've got a good chance of getting bit.
So what I will say is, the great white shark, as portrayed in Jaws, gets a lot of bad press. Which is Jaws is primarily the reason, to be honest.
Yeah,
but gets a lot of bad press.
Which is why the writer of it set up charities and stuff, and has spent his entire life trying to undo the image he created of them because he thinks they're beautiful animals.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's actually bull sharks. Bull sharks attack way more people than great whites, and there's a few reasons for it. First of all, they're a lot more curious. And if you're curious about something, if you look at something, right, and maybe if it smells, you smell it or whatever, and you're not sure what it is, what do? You
go and investigate, which is what animals do as well.
What do you do? What do you do?
We would pick it up, but sharks can't, so they bite.
They don't have hands, so they bite. So it's a test bite. That's why a lot of people get bitten once and don't get bitten again. It's because it's what's this? Bite. Oh, that's a person. I don't want to bite that. I don't want to eat that. So then they swim off. The other thing as well is the whole well-known person. Yeah, yes, we'll lick it. That's Winters. As a person from below in the water is just a shape that looks a bit like what could be a seal, and they're thrashing about on a surfboard. So it's usually people on some kind of board that gets bitten rather than somebody just swimming. Although you can't get bitten if you're just swimming. But in movies and that, where this whole shark will hunt you and hunt you and hunt you, that's very. I don't think it's ever documented, really.
No,
if it has, it's extremely rare. It's usually just investigation, a little nip.
You do statistically have more chance of getting crushed by a vending machine than you do of getting attacked by a sharp shark. A sharp? I mean, a sharp shark.
A shark.
There are sharp sharks, so you know.
More likely a vending machine falls on you than someone shanks you.
Yeah. Can you imagine if a shark could shank you? The sharp shark shanked you with a sharp object.
Imagine if... sorry, I was distracted because I'm Googling. Imagine if a shark got bitten by another shark and then done the human thing of pulled the tooth out and make it into a necklace and then it come across you later on and stabbed you with it.
This is the thing. Did you know seals have claws?
Yes. Right, are you ready, Kyle?
Because there's... When you see... You know how you see pictures of sharks and stuff, and they've got claw marks all over them, and people think it's like... People don't know what it's from. They wrongfully assume it's from, like, someone fighting it off or things like that. It's literally from a fucking seal. If a shark approaches a seal the wrong way, it's fucked.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Promotion.
This has become a shark episode.
Yay.
I like it.
Right.
Oh.
The odds of being attacked by a shark, right, is 1 in basically 3.74 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't believe in the sea.
And there's loads of things. So there's a thing on the market called shark bans.
Yeah, it's meant to like keep them away or something. With like a certain scent.
Navigate. 10 things more likely than a shark attack, right? Number 1 is so this is in the United States. So, in the US, it's 320 million people in the US. 52 provoked shark attacks. So in America, it's 1.625 in a million. Right,
and that's just
so
American
things
politicians.
More likely. Yeah, higher odds on a shark attack has been accepted at Harvard, which is 6 in every 100 applicants. Being born with extra fingers or toes, which is called polydactyl, which is 1 in 500 people. Catching a foul ball in a baseball game is 1 in 680. Living to 100 years old. In a country where 90% of its population gets shot before it's 50, that's quite impressive. You're more likely to live to 100 than be attacked by a
isn't
shark.
it usually... But that's being kind, saying that they reach 50. More like they don't reach like past 15.
You're more likely to be injured by a toilet in America.
Yeah.
Which is apparently 96.4 in 100.
So is that what happened to Donald Trump? He got injured by a toilet?
Oh, sorry, let's start again. In 100,000. There's not 96% of the American population getting injured by toilets, although it wouldn't surprise us.
No, it wouldn't surprise me either.
You're more likely to make a hole-in-one on a par 3 as an amateur golfer.
Mm-hmm.
You're more likely to be hit by an asteroid. More likely to get struck by lightning. That reminds us of my good friend that I mentioned in the other episode.
Yeah. I will say, there's a saying that I don't like, right? And I've read
Americans.
stuff, because I'm interested in the subject, I've read stuff about like marine biologists and all that sort of stuff. Because we've talked about the underwater station and everything that I would love to visit and stuff like that, and I'd love to go diving and things like that. There's a saying that I don't like, and it's when people say shark-infested waters. The sharks fucking live there if anybody's infesting them, it's us.
Yeah, that's true.
But don't they say that about war zones as well?
Or a crocodile-infested river. No, it's a crocodile's house. Don't go in it.
Exactly. It's like saying, oh, it's fish infested. Well, yeah, because the fish fucking live there.
Yeah, it's like when the crocodile goes back in the river, it doesn't go that fucking riverbank's human infested.
Yeah, that's literally it. We are the infestation. So stop saying this place is shark infested and chill out. Although I will say, I am fine with saying that a fucking jellyfish infested, because jellyfish are wankers. I like them, but they can stay the fuck away from us.
Kyle?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna. Do you want to know what's more likely to kill? This is what's more likely to kill you than a shark.
Everything.
So 5 humans were killed by sharks in 2018.
Yes.
There was more people killed by accidental poisoning, an air or space accident, a bike accident, boating, cancer, car accident, a champagne cork, contracting an infection at a hospital, drowning, eating, excessive cold, falling, fireworks, the flu, heart disease, hunting, die by hunting. Is that when the animal turns on you?
I just like the fact that you skipped over in the middle of that list, eating, as if it was nothing.
Just say it's just eating.
Yeah, you sort of skipped over. You sort of skipped over and focused on the hunting bit. But yeah, more people died from eating than getting attacked by sharks.
Than being eaten. A rip current, sun heater exposure, a tornado, a train crash, or randomly a sandhole collapse. But the bad thing about that...
How many people died from sandball collapses? Yeah.
I don't know, but it just says there's more people... So more than 5 in 2018 alone.
Oh, fuck.
Fair do.
But the sad thing about that is, and this is what puts it into perspective, in the same year that 5 humans were killed by sharks, 100 million sharks approximately were killed by humans. And that's about 11,500 every hour in 2018 alone. So you're right, it's humans infesting waters, not sharks.
It is. We are the issue. People can't say, "Oh, sharks are the issue. They shouldn't be there." We are the issue.
Humans are the worst thing to ever happen to the planet in general.
Just recommendation: anybody who goes out diving with sharks, I'm sure they'll probably tell you this before you do it, but don't try and stroke a fucking shark, because it's basically like rubbing your hand across not needles, like spikes. It's basically like rubbing your hand across nails in a piece of wood. Their skin is teeth. It is designed to hurt.
Where did you rub the shark, Kyle?
I want to stroke a shark.
Where?
You know in films where someone will hold a shark by the fin and use it as like... Like, never try that. You will rip the bloody fin off, or you will lose your fingers. Because it is just pure muscle. And it will fuck you up.
I think I've worked out why sharks don't want to be stroked by Kyle.
Because Kyle's made of teeth.
No.
I'm not made of teeth.
Because he wouldn't answer why he wants to stroke the shark.
Sharks are adorable.
Because the shark would go the other way when they see Kyle, because they go, "Oh shit, there's Russia."
Hey.
when did I get it?
Any country where even the pigeons salute the leader is a fucking good country.
Pigeons are rats.
In our country, pigeons shit on our leaders, so it's alright.
Yeah, true.
Exactly, that's better.
Uh-huh.
You can't argue with that, Kyle.
Yeah, that's very true, I can't. Anyway, Jordan.
If a pigeon saluted Boris Johnson in public, someone would kick the shit out of it.
Jordan, you have a topic. And then, if you wish, we can complain about the fact that Boris Johnson somehow spent £58,000 redecorating a fucking flat.
£200,000 he used actually on the Tory party's money. He's getting investigated for it.
It's got an annual yearly budget of £30,000 to do it up, and he went he spent an extra £58,000 on it. So he spent like £78,000 doing a flat. A flat. I could buy a house for that. Fuck off.
Boris doesn't care. Boris is Boris. Anyways, time to have a bit of a...
That's John's contribution to this episode.
Yeah.
Pish off.
Boris is Boris. I'm out.
Right, anyways.
Mic drop.
I found a topic about... This might cause a bit of ranty behaviour by Kyle and Stefan here.
Ooh, so fun.
Oh, how am I on the hook?
Because...
How's the ranty one?
Man defends decision not to give up seat on bus for pregnant woman. Right? And I've only brought this up because...
There is no defence.
It is said in the article that it's an established social norm that you give your seat up on a bus for either an old person...
Or pregnant
it's called not being a twat.
Or a pregnant woman.
Exactly. It's called being a fucking gentleman.
Mind.
It's not, it's just called not being a little wanker.
Mind, I've found this on buses. If an old person sitting at the front and a pregnant woman comes and there's no front seat, they will not give it up for the pregnant woman.
That's because they're old. They can't stand. You ever seen an old person try and stand up on a bus? I guarantee they're going to hit the deck.
Yeah.
Especially because I don't know about anywhere else, like in America and shit, but bus drivers in the UK drive like they're Colin McRae. And I don't know how they're always late everywhere. Because they're always doing 95 mile an hour. And they don't stop.
It's because they're going roundabouts 3 fucking times because they forget which exit's the right one.
Well, Will.
Plot twist, the one was Hitler. I don't think... There's a few things wrong with that.
Well, nobody knows.
I don't think Hitler is pregnant or a woman or in America.
He might have been a woman.
Plot twist.
I still think it's a safe assumption that he's not in America.
Hitler escaped Germany by having a sex change.
And then accidentally got pregnant.
Please tell me, someone send in a comment or something, or one of us has to find... that's going to be my task, is finding a book or piece of media where Hitler has a sex change to escape Germany.
I thought you were going to say fight Hitler. I was going to say, well, if you do that, you're better than the CIA.
Anyways, right, back to the article and topic thing. It's quite stupid. It's that bad, right? Even his own family give him wrong.
Well, yeah, of course.
So it says, when you're sitting on the public transport, whether it's a bus, tube, or a train, it's established that you give up your seat if an old person gets on, someone with a walking aid, or a pregnant woman.
To be fair, the people with walking aids usually sit right at the front and like in the disabled seats, which nobody else sits in.
Yeah, but the thing is, due to COVID, you can't do that at the minute.
What, sit in the disabled seats?
Nope, because it's too close to the driver.
It's behind the cab. There's a thick wall in between them half the time.
Right, this is a Reaver.
Kyle, COVID could go through a wall, but it doesn't attack you if you're in a group of 6 or less.
And if you're eating or sitting down,
so you're safe right now.
Plus, you've already had it.
Completely immune to COVID,
and you made COVID stronger. It's your fault.
I produced the Russian variant.
I mean, that's not completely out of the question. It's entirely plausible that you produced the Russian variant.
I produced the Russian-Italian variant. It's the secret variant they haven't announced yet because they're confused at the fact it's from 2 countries at once.
The Italian variant.
Yeah.
And it originated from Widgerton.
Mm-hmm.
Terrifying.
Anyways, but one man has spoken about his decision not to give up his seat for a mother-to-be that got on the bus after he'd finished a long day at work and had sore feet.
Oh, diddums.
Oh, bless him.
The man,
imagine having to get a job and go to work all day.
The man
it must be such a hard life for him.
Took to Reddit to get some opinions after saying that his family completely lost their minds when he got home and explained his situation.
He went to the place where everybody has an opinion, everybody fights constantly, and he managed to unify people against him. He managed to unify Reddit against them, basically. It's the one time
thought
Reddit's
there's one place that anyone's going to possibly agree with us and give us validation. It's going to be Reddit, and they were like, "Nah, mate, you're a cunt."
He wrote about how he's been getting the bus into car crash and is waiting to get a new vehicle. In the meantime, he cherishes the time spent sitting on his ride home and doesn't believe he should give up his seat for someone who is carrying a baby because that is her personal choice.
Notice...
What was his personal choice to not buy a car when he got crashed?
And notice it doesn't say that he was injured or anything, so he has no reason.
So basically what's happened is he crashed into someone and then he's either lost his licence or he's too lazy to drive. And he's enjoyed being a bum. That's what I got from that.
On the Reddit thread, he wrote...
Who's Reddit Fred? I'm confused. I didn't know this character was involved.
Fred. He wrote, so last night I'm on the bus and a very heavenly pregnant, so it wasn't even early pregnancy, it was heavily pregnant. Lady gets on, she looks around for a seat, wanting to find there are no available ones left. I'm the closest to her, so she starts giving me the imploring eyes. Basically, shift, you twat. Eventually, the woman started talking to the anonymous fella, and we assume asked him for a seat. He continued, I wasn't rude or anything. I just told her, no, I've had a long day and my feet are sore. I don't want to give up my seat. She started crying.
What a little prick.
About how she's a pregnant single mom and told her, I'm sorry. That was her personal choice and she can't expect other people to accommodate her life choices.
Okay, so what if she was sexually assaulted and just ended up pregnant?
Yeah.
Then that wasn't her choice.
Oh God, it was Britain as well.
Also, it doesn't matter. She's heavily pregnant. She's going to be completely fucked and have far worse feet than him.
Exactly.
And then he went on to say, we live in a state where birth control and abortions are free. So I don't know why this should be my problem.
All right, well, walking's free, so get off the bus, you prick.
It's not my fault she decided to have a baby when she can't afford a car.
Buy a bike and cycle.
You've got maybe she can't afford a car, but she just didn't pass her test because she's not confident enough to drive or something like that. Maybe she had a car accident and she's not comfortable driving.
This is
all stuff you should consider.
Maybe when you're heavily fucking pregnant, it's recommended you don't drive because of if anything happens at the wheel, you will crash and you're putting yourself and the baby at risk. So the bus is the safer option.
But Kyle, you'll like what this old man said shouted over to the person. He went,
Can you tell me someone kicked him off the bus?
Hold on.
I hope someone kicked him in the cock.
The bloke went on to say that an old man shouted over that he was a worthless punk and before ranting about damn millennials.
Yes, good man.
To which the author of the post opted to pretend not to hear.
Why the fuck not? Start an argument so we can throw you off the bus, please.
Upon arriving home, the guy says he told his sister, who flipped the fuck out, before his parents wanted to chew his ass, about his unwillingness to give up the seat. Asking for opinions, one person replied, the whole giving up seats for the pregnant and the elderly thing isn't because they're pregnant and elderly, it's because these particular groups are more likely to fall and suffer serious injury when they do. Someone else added, you are complaining about having sore feet when her feet probably were hurting worse than yours. Trust me, hers were hurting worse than yours.
Exactly.
Yep.
Another thing is, the way you're talking about her is nasty. You're implying that she should have either not gotten pregnant or had an abortion, which is ridiculous as fuck. You're also implying that she's too poor to be a mother just because she's taking the bus. They went on to say...
Maybe she got pregnant and gave up her car to have a kid. Yeah. Maybe it was a conscious decision.
The way you're talking and acting about the entire situation is ridiculous. You should be entirely ashamed of yourself. Defending the original poster, another said, buses are generally first come, first serve. No one bought that seat. Yeah, culturally it might be considered the right thing to do, but there is no obligation. The way actors talked and told the story makes him an a-hole, but not the fact that he did not give up the seat.
No, okay, right, so hold on. I'm going to break that down into two different bits. First of all, nobody bought that seat. Okay, well, he didn't buy that seat either, so then he should use his fucking head. It's not like it's cost him anything. He's got on the fucking bus and sat down where there was a free seat. Why can't he just move instead of being a bellend? And secondly, I don't know about, is this in the US, I'm assuming?
It said
because if it was in the UK, he would have probably been grabbed a hold of and hied off the bus.
I think it was in America because it said state. We live in a state.
Yeah.
Where birth control and abortions are free.
On UK buses at the front where these seats are, it says there's little plaques on the wall that say this is priority seating. Please give it up to elderly or disabled people if needed or something like that.
Yeah, it's elderly, disabled.
Yeah, so people, so it tells you, the bus just reminds you, don't be a bellend.
Yeah, which I think is what the sign should say. Just don't be a twat.
Yeah, which I don't think it's like legally binding or anything. You can't get fucking. It's
however, there have been cases of bus drivers throwing people off for being a twat.
So,
but saying, it's just the social norm.
No, it's
the social norm to not kick the shit out of someone, but it doesn't mean if you do it, you can go, well, I just thought I'd be a bit different.
Kyle, you like this? I've just seen another article, but it's not about, like, man not giving his seat up. Man's banned from Tinder after someone reported him for putting a picture of Baby Yoda on Tinder.
What?
Out of everything that would get someone banned from Tinder, that is not what I was expecting.
I thought John said Twitter, so I was a bit more confused.
Tinder.
All right.
I mean, we got banned from Twitter.
Tinder should just be banned anyway.
No, that was because of a certain picture.
Well, us? Yes, we didn't get banned for a certain picture. We got banned because we was.
No, we got banned because of Jay, because of the elf.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake, Will.
What did you put?
You can see what he's put. So, how did this guy get banned from Tinder, Jordan? How did he get banned? Like, what is the thought process behind all this?
Right. So, this was last year. Man banned from Tinder after someone reported him for Baby Yoda photo. So when it comes to putting yourself out there in the world of online dating, the first obstacle for many people is how to handle your all-important picture collection. But so does that come off as too forward, too jokey, too serious? Do
No.
I look like I can't have fun? Glasses versus no glasses. You get the idea. But what about Baby Yoda or no Baby Yoda? Well, Carter Hambley found out the hard way that it's probably best to leave out that little fella, especially on Tinder. Carter, a comedian living in Chicago, posted an innocent picture of himself with an image of the much-loved Star Wars character edited to appear on his lap. When the 21-year-old matched with someone, they wrote us, "Where did you get the Yoda doll? Where did you get that Yoda doll?" Carter explained that it was just Photoshopped, to which the person responded, "No, not the photo, I mean the Yoda doll." Once again, he tried to point out that it wasn't an actual doll before trying to strike up a conversation asking the other person what films they were into besides Star Wars, presumably. And there is basically a picture of the chat that he was having. So obviously it says, "Where did you get that Yoda doll?" And that's when he put, "Oh, it's just Photoshopped." "No, not the photo, I mean the Yoda doll." So he put, "Yeah, it's not a doll, unfortunately. Anyways, what kind of movies do you like besides Star Wars, presumably?" So he put, then the person replied, "So you just put a fake image on your profile. That's literally the definition of catfishing. You're a liar."
I mean, it's a fucking picture of Yoda.
I mean, not
what the
unless
hell
you think
did they
you're chatting up
expect?
Yoda. Not unless they thought they were genuinely chatting up Baby Yoda, in which case I worry for them.
I mean,
They were chatting up Grogu.
That would be one hell of a weird fucking just... I've been catfished. Why? They used a picture of Baby Yoda. That's your own fucking fault. There's no way you can say you're being catfished by a picture of Baby Yoda.
I'm convinced that stupid is contagious.
Right.
Because it's definitely multiply.
There's
I've got something to do. I've
it.
got a topic to do with stupidity as well, to be honest.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. I'll let Jordan finish.
There's quite a few out there.
That's polite of you.
Anyways, Kyle, carry on. I'll try and find some more stuff.
Right, okay. This is... you know how some people are obsessed with learning languages? They'll learn like 10 languages, 12, 13, 14. They'll obsess doing it, and like they're really good at it.
So on us.
There is a scientific thing called language deprivation, which is not recommended to anyone, by the way. But it's been attempted since 480 BE, basically.
BE?
BE.
BCE.
It just says BE.
Oh, you might know it. Yeah.
200 years before Herodotus. Who was an Egyptian pharaoh.
Yes.
So, but basically, like, it's been done for years. There's been loads of experiments. One of the most notable ones is Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II, who decided to do experiments in the 13th century. He was extremely interested in natural languages and how they form and how they work, and how languages have managed to evolve. So he saw, I think it was 6 or 7 young infants raised without any human interaction at all, in an attempt to determine if there was a natural language that the human race would speak that they might demonstrate once their voices matured. So he was basically seeing if, with no interaction with any other actual human languages, if there is a natural human language that we default to. And some records claim that he was seeking to discover what language might have been imparted into Adam and Eve by God, because he was highly religious.
Okay. First, can I just stop you there before you go any further?
Yes.
Right. First of all, baby. Okay, three things. The first is when you said language deprivation. I was like, I've heard like sleep deprivation and certain things, like studies and stuff. So,
Yep.
how is it language deprivation? How do you take away someone's language? Well, I get you now. Secondly, is that babies cry in accents, and babies can hear in the womb, so they would pick up language cues from there. They might not necessarily learn how to speak as well as someone who's spoken to.
It was the 13th century, so they had no idea about all that. They just assumed that a baby learnt the language it heard while it was growing up.
That's true. Well, accents aren't language. That's true.
And yeah,
but they do hear voices and stuff. But more importantly, deaf people.
What?
Deaf people. If you're born deaf, you can't hear anything.
Eh?
And you don't speak. You learn sign language. And if you've heard somebody that's deaf their whole life try and speak, they can't really say words or they can't pronounce things properly.
Yeah, they can't move.
Surely deaf people are the clue.
The tongue in the correct way because it's never been trained to move in that sort of way, so it always sounds a little bit off. No offense to deaf people, but if you've been deaf all your life, I don't know if you'll know, but I'm assuming someone probably told you or you've realised at some point, but the sounds, because your muscle memory isn't there compared to other people unless you really train it hard, which some people do, and I really appreciate the people that do, because fucking well done, because it takes effort. But like, your tongue requires training to learn your language and everything. It has to move in a certain way. It's like how I would struggle to learn Russian because I never grew up having to roll my R's, so I struggle rolling my R's, which means I would struggle with some phrases that are in Russian because they have the rolling R sound.
Right, okay, right. I'll deal with Will in a second.
Subtitles? or
deaf people aren't going to be listening to this. Well, technically, no, not if they're deaf because they can't listen to this, but they can still follow along with subtitles, as Kyle said. And that doesn't matter. The whole point was, you want to see if you didn't hear a voice your entire life, would you sort of magically learn a language? The answer is no, because otherwise deaf people would all speak the same language.
Yeah, that's the thing. It would be would they create their own language? Would it be like, did humans have a natural language that they would default to if there was no interference?
No. And the other thing, Kyle, is that you said the way it's muscle memory and stuff like that. It's not necessarily that. Like, deaf people could learn how to speak English, a lot of them do, but the reason they don't make the right sounds, or it doesn't sound right to us necessarily, to somebody who can hear, is because you can learn basic words and how they're structured and how to move your mouth to make sounds.
Yeah.
But the only way that you fine tune that and get it to sound English, like how we're speaking now, exactly spot on, is by hearing yourself. You hear your own voice. So if you can't hear your own voice, you can't know how to make that exact sound.
Will's asked the all-important question, which is, what happened to the babies?
They all died because they couldn't ask for food.
No. The reason they died is, in fact, that...
so they did die then?
Yeah, they did die. They
were executed because they wouldn't.
The experiments were recorded by the monk Salambin de Adam in his chronicles, who was generally extremely negative about Frederick II.
The Chronicle is a negative newspaper.
He was apparently portraying his calamities as parallel to the biblical plagues in the 12 calamities of Emperor Frederick II. So it's literally a book saying he had 12 calamities. He wrote that Frederick encouraged foster mothers and nurses to suckle and bathe and wash the children, but in no ways to prattle or speak with them, for he would have learned whether they would speak the Hebrew language, which he took to have been the first, or Greek or Latin or Arabic, or perchance the tongue of the parents of whom they had been born. But he laboured in vain, because the children could not live without clapping, without like hand clapping and gestures and sort of hearing voices and communication and all that sort of stuff. And basically the children died because they didn't have the human interaction that humans need to survive. They didn't have any of that human interaction. It was basically like they were treated like animals, because they were just fed and bathed and that's it. Like, no interaction or anything ever. And so what they didn't realise back then was that babies require human interaction in order to survive, just like animals do, like puppies and kittens and stuff like that. They require interaction with things and people and like sounds and everything just to be able to grow and live, and so the babies unfortunately passed away. But apparently James IV of Scotland, a long time after Frederick II's experiment, because people have done it throughout history, James was said to have sent 2 children to be raised by a mute woman isolated on the island of Inchkeith to determine if language was learned or innate. The children were reported to have spoken good Hebrew, but historians were skeptical of these claims soon after they were made.
What? Oh, right, so... again, the clue's deaf people.
Yeah, basically.
You don't just magically learn a language without actually learning, hearing, and conversing in a language.
This is the thing, though, because back then, if you were deaf, I feel like it would have been a case of, like, nobody would have noticed or really paid that much attention. Like, a lot of the time, in, like, history records and stuff, deaf people were sometimes just seen as, like, a hindrance, or, like, people wouldn't pay attention to them because they couldn't, like, talk back or anything, so...
I know you started with at the time, but just the sentence, deaf people were seen as, like, a hindrance.
Yeah, it's because in history, despite the fact that, like, we've sort of gone backwards with discrimination and stuff, to be honest. Because we're making all... If you look at...
Well, I mean...
I'm going to jump to, like, the different topic of, like, discrimination here, and, I'm sorry, everybody. But we've made steps forward. That's good.
Or was it a genuine apology?
We are making steps towards equality for, like, the different sexes, the different races, all that sort of stuff. The issue is that we have legitimately gone backwards. Because if you look at the historical records of places such as the Holy Roman Empire, yes, they did stupid shit like this, but at the same time...
They certainly built better roads.
At the same time, they did not discriminate between black people and white people. They did not discriminate between if you were gay or straight or lesbian or anything like that. You could be whatever the fuck you wanted. They didn't give a shit. As long as you were all right, you're okay. Even disabilities, they found ways around things with disabilities. Even fucking pirates found ways around disabilities by slamming on a fucking peg leg.
Right. First of all, you've been reading too many children's books.
Not about the Romans. The Romans is literally a historical fact.
You're right, because the Romans didn't really discriminate, because it doesn't matter who's black, white, disabled, or gay when everyone's slaves.
Well, no, there's the thing. Like, there were cases of black generals in the Holy Roman Empire. There was even... I can't remember if he was actually an emperor or if it was just someone who was really close to an emperor, but there was someone who was of colour from Africa who was very close to... He was either very close to an emperor or he was an emperor.
I could be wrong, but I highly doubt he was an emperor.
I'm trying to see if I've still got the topic, because I did actually have the topic. It's somewhere. I'll have to search. I'll have to search for it. But yeah, they didn't discriminate in any sort of way, like we sort of do nowadays. And they did actually have black generals in the army and things like that. And the whole thing of black people were slaves. Everybody was slaves. It didn't matter.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
And it's like some people go back and say, "Oh, but they had the term Africanus." But the thing people don't realise is that that was literally a surname used by people. Generals who served in Africa took on the surname Africanus, and then their soldiers, if they were loyal to him, would often take on that surname themselves. So you could have 100 Africanus in the same fucking unit. Doesn't mean they were all from Africa, or it doesn't mean they were all black. They would have been mixed in, but it's just because they were in that region. They'd done like a good deed there. So, for instance, there was a general who succeeded in a great battle where he was outnumbered in Africa, so he was granted the surname Africanus as a sort of show of, like, well done, you gain the name of this place. You, like, have earned the right to be called this. And so many of the soldiers that he took charge of took the name as a show of respect to him, to say, we respect you as a great general because you did this great deed. So a lot of Romans would have shared the same sort of surnames, or they would have had like caveat surnames attached just to show respect for different bits and pieces and things like that.
Lads.
Yes.
Right. It's not to do with Romans or discrimination. But have you ever seen Dexter?
No.
Yes.
I want to, but no,
Surprise,
I haven't.
motherfucker.
There is not. I've found an article that says there's a real life Dexter serial killer who killed up to 100 people.
There was, yes, I think there was.
So it says in the article, Dexter is making a return to screens this autumn, much to the delight of fans. But did you know there was a real life Dexter? The much-loved TV series follows Dexter Morgan, a forensic technician who leads to a secret parallel life as a vigilante serial killer, hunting down murderers. But while this may seem like a rather implausible premise, it actually bears similarities to the story of Pedro Rodriguez Fejelo.
Right, Jordan, maybe keep it for the other project that we're working on.
Yes.
Yeah, because
we are trying to not do serial killers in this, because we're working on separate projects for serial killers and like murderers and thieves and just criminals in general.
Hold on then.
So I'm gonna move you to something else, which is a conspiracy theory, because conspiracies are always fun.
No, they're not. I'm gonna have to save that.
Okay.
It's a 1948 conspiracy. And this is the story of a man who decided to wear 30-pound, three-toed lead shoes and stomped around a Florida beach in the night. The footprints led to people to believe that a 15-foot-tall penguin was roaming their lands. He kept up the prank for 10 years, visiting different beaches all around. The hoax wasn't revealed until 40 years later, so he did it for 10 years, just appearing at random beaches wearing these 30-pound three-toed shoes, leaving massive footprints like a fucking dinosaur. And then, after 10 years, he decided to stop, and it took them another 30 years for them to realise it's a person wearing shoes, not a fucking 15-foot-tall penguin.
I mean, the first clue is that penguins don't reach 15 foot tall.
I think
the second clue was that
they were probably thinking it was a dinosaur at first, because if you look at the images, it does look like a dinosaur's foot. But I think they then realised dinosaurs don't exist. What's the closest animal in the normal life that has
penguins, Kyle?
I know, but I think the footprint didn't match anything other than a penguin foot. If it couldn't be a dinosaur foot,
or a man's boots,
which I find funny, because don't penguins have webbed feet? They've got the claws, but don't have webbing in between the claws? Because this guy's this guy's shoes feet thing that he was using.
His boots weren't webbed.
Yeah, the boots. They weren't webbed, so they just left.
Those boots weren't made for walking.
Yeah, well, they were made for walking, evidently, on beaches in Florida. But they only had the three-pronged thing, so they're walking around like that. They didn't have the webbing in between.
Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. Isn't a lizard just a cannibal? We've got an entire episode on that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I've got a topic which isn't to do with what I was talking about before. It's actually something to do with royalty. Ish.
With royalty?
Ish.
Yeah. There was an interview on this morning that was forced to be cut because he was claimed to be Prince Charles' secret son to Camilla.
Secret son?
No,
he's a royal, he's probably got loads of secret sons.
He's the son of Prince Philip, so come on.
There's things with people going, they've got a secret son, or they've got an illegitimate son, and stuff like that. Royalty usually does. They are royalty. That's kind of what they do.
That's how they keep their royal lineage going. Anyways, I'll finish
so that if the lineage somehow fucks up, the illegitimate son can take over. Look at history. It's fantastic.
Right, so it says here, Philip Schofield was forced.
That's not royalty.
Was forced to cut short a segment on This Morning.
I mean, he practically is. He turns up on TV as much.
Featuring a man who claims to be the secret child of Prince Charles and Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall. After someone off camera shouted a swear word, so they had to cut it short because the person's wife swore.
Hold on a second. He said he claimed to be the son of Charles and Camilla.
Yeah, when Charles and Camilla were still with, when Charles was with Diana. It
wouldn't be illegitimate though.
The Queen may not be Elizabeth, but Camilla's definitely a horse.
It would have been made legitimate because of the fact that.
No, because back in the 90s he was with Diana. He was having an affair with Camilla.
Yeah, but as soon as he got with Camilla, it would have been technically made legitimate because then it would be.
It's not made legitimate because it was still conceived out of a relationship,
out of wedlock.
His wife's back.
I know, but
like what Diana did with an Indian. Oh wait, what?
It's just all
Jordan.
Philip and co-presenter Holly Willoughby. I'll not say
Holly Willoughby.
Holly Willoughby.
Holly Willoughby.
Holly Willoughby.
Holly Willoughby.
Holly Willoughby.
We're chatting on ITV's flagship morning programme with Simon Charles Durant Day. Yes, on the morning via a video link to Australia, where he lives.
Durant Day, did you just say?
Yeah, Durant Day.
Is it a person or a place, or what is that?
It's a person. That is his full name.
Who the fuck is... What?
However, Simon's wife, Iliviana, could at one stage be heard off-screen shouting and then yelled, "Stop treating indigenous people like shit."
Indigenous?
Yes. At that stage, Philip was forced to close down the interview, telling Simon, "We'll leave it there, Simon, unfortunately." To be fair, it hadn't actually exactly been a bed of roses up until that point anyways. The 59-year-old presenter, Schofield, had previously called Durant Day claims that he is the lost child of Prince Charles a stretch after he had been shown pictures of Simon's children, who he says looks like Charles and his mother, Queen Elizabeth. While the questioning from Holly...
So, was the only proof he had, "Oh, my children look a little bit like the royalty"?
Hold on. While the questioning from Holly and Phil remained civil, proceedings started to hot up after royal biographer Robert Jobson was brought on and asked what he thinks about it all. You can probably guess what he thinks, can't you? Robert, the author of a book called Prince Charles at 70, Our Future King, vehemently dismissed all of Simon's claims, and the pair ended up in a shouting match talking over one another. Things did eventually calm down, and Philip offered the pair the opportunity to answer questions in turn without shouting it over each other. However, that's when Simon's wife decided to have her say and the interview was terminated. After her interjection, Philip Schofield added, "That wasn't very royal, was it?"
I mean...
Right. Royal... America's most important thing...
English?
Yeah, so it's not royalty, is it, the president, but that's all we're moving on to.
The government of America, because they don't have royalty.
So from the most important people in England to the most important people in the US of A.
Yes.
The Bidens.
Do you know the Oval Office?
Yes.
Is one giant set of scales.
Is it?
Yes.
I can imagine that, but why?
So you don't question that it's happening?
I don't care why it's happening. I just want to know, why it is built like that.
The Secret Service obviously protect the president at all times.
Yes.
Right. So there's sometimes when they're not allowed in the Oval Office, the president doesn't let them like them in, because obviously that's the way he does business every day. He doesn't like them in there all the time. Can you imagine trying to sit in an office with like 5 guys with like fucking suits stand around you waiting for you, kind of thing? So obviously they've got to keep an eye on him all the time. But he doesn't. The Oval Office is private.
Is this going to be some sort of Mission Impossible shit where where it has the weight measured and the tiniest difference and they go bursting in?
Yes.
The fuck?
It's exactly that. So there's sometimes, if there's official events or something, he's got people in there with him, they'll be in there with him. But if a lot of the time the president is in the Oval Office exclusively by himself, so the Secret Service, there's two guys just kind of waiting outside the door. Now, their job, they need to know where the president is at all times. So he goes in, and they've got a thing where they can see where the pressure sensors, so where everything is, like obviously they know where everything is. They've got pressure sensors and the president's weight, so they know how much he weighs, and they know it shows up on that little map thing where he is. And the whole idea is somebody could come through a window and, like, you know, somebody that could somehow get into the White House grounds without anybody knowing could get the Oval Office window and take him out the window. So they need, or something like that, or somebody could break in, somebody could be hiding there, whatever. So they would know if there was two, or if one disappeared. If I was a president, I would just move shit that's a similar weight to me around and just fuck with them.
Just have it attached to a rope and just stand in one spot, and then just like have it on top of a cupboard or something, and then just drop it on.
But you know, the other thing I did learn, right, from this foray through
facts,
the Secret Service and shit like that, is that the president, right? So, like I said, they have to have Secret Service with them all the time. Now, if they're outside the grounds of the White House, if they're out on doing whatever they do, like normal life, they have to have 8 around them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they're out in public, they have to have 8 Secret Service people around them. So, and that means including if they go for a run, which was a real problem with Bill Clinton because he used to love running.
Yeah.
So you go out and run all the time.
I think Joe Biden does as well.
Yeah. So these guys, and the problem is, he's out in his shorts, his t-shirt, having a nice morning run and stuff, and he does it every day, so he's quite fit. They're in suits with bulletproof vests and assault rifles trying to keep up.
I mean, I'm assuming if it's Secret Service and they're just protecting him, I'm assuming they wouldn't be carrying assault rifles, it would just be a sidearm.
No, they do.
And
they do.
You would assume that
have a look to see a president on a run. Every one of them has an assault rifle.
You would assume that they would be extremely fit though, because they usually pulled from like the army and stuff, aren't they? They're usually like veterans of places that have been like in combat, and they're usually meant to be peak fitness type thing.
But do you know what that means?
That there's some very sweaty suits by the end of the run.
No, the 8 fastest people in the world are actually formally banned from ever being president. They can't be president.
Just in case that,
because if you were the 7th fastest guy in the world and you decide and you become president, you want to go on a run, there's only 6 people who could actually keep up with you because you're faster than everyone else.
I'm assuming though, if you're the fastest person alive, it's usually to do with like sprinting and stuff, in which case you can just slow yourself down to a jog, which is usually what you do on a run.
Because this is the thing, because
I doubt Usain Bolt sprints
so like Usain
everywhere.
Bolt. So this is the thing, right? This is the thing. So if you take that, the 8 fastest people in the world, so if it's literally the 8 fastest people in the world, then you're right, Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt, he's very fast, but only for like 200 meters. You can't get up to that much trouble, can you? He's only 200 meters away.
I mean, that's not really the whole thing. It's, yes, he can do it for 200 meters, but if he's just going out for like a run, I'm assuming he wouldn't go sprinting off. It would just be like a fitness run type thing of just doing a jog.
I mean, I would fuck with him. It would be hilarious, but that's not the point. Yeah, but the point is you can't get up that much trouble. You'd either be doing a normal pace or you'd be extremely fast for a very short amount of time, so it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
But what that means is Mo Farah isn't one of the 8 fastest people in the world. They die of exhaustion.
Just have the Secret Service agents die of exhaustion following them.
Yeah, they'd have to take shifts.
I did learn while watching different programs and stuff. The Secret Service learns something from every president. They change the code names with every president. So, like,
yes, they do.
It's not always just Eagle One. It changes with every president. They've got different names and stuff. But
So does that mean when Donald Trump was president, he was called Bellend One?
No,
unofficially.
I can't remember what he was called, but someone did actually say what his designation was in like a they were talking about like the whole.
I know he just like to be called Porter's 45 after basically being the 45th president.
But they learn something with every president. You know how they've got the whole thing of the car door has to always be open for the president to get in.
Yeah.
That wasn't originally always the case. It was because there was an assassination attempt or like something happened near a president and the car door wasn't open and a couple of people in the Secret Service died, and I think the president himself actually got shot at the time because the car door wasn't open, so it took the extra time for them to open the door, get him out the way, get him in the car, and it caused loads of bollocks.
I was going to say, was that JFK, but he was already in the car.
But they're very, 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 very heavily modified and armoured, them cars as well. Have you ever actually seen what goes in them?
Yeah, they are, but that's the whole thing of if he could, like they were saying in the programme, they're heavily modified and they are basically tanks. But if the president can't get into it quickly, it's pointless.
Oh, well,
so that's why there's always a Secret Service agent at the door, keeping the door open and ready, so that if anything happens, the president is thrown in the car and the door is slammed shut and basically made sure it's shut so that nothing can get into it.
Which makes sense, because like you said, it doesn't matter how well armoured the car is if you can't get into it. It's like you wouldn't go to war and then stand next to a tank.
Yeah. Because I think it was a case of one, the president was coming down a flight of stairs and the door wasn't open yet, and someone started shooting towards them. They took down a service agent who did his job to protect the president, but a stray bullet hit the president. He survived because it was just like a flesh wound or a graze or something. He survived, but he had to have surgery and stuff. But it was a case of...
I didn't realise he was in the Monty Python sketch.
It's but a flesh wound.
Yeah, it is but a flesh wound. But yeah, he literally got...
Chop your bloody leg off!
President got shot, so they had to re-amend the rules. And they do it throughout history, and they'll like change certain things because of it. Like Donald Trump, when he decided not to go in the car, when he decided to walk behind it, they had to create an entirely new rule set just to do that. And apparently, I'm assuming he pissed off all of the Secret Service agents because it was all the training that they've had and all the like stuff that they've trained for immediately thrown out the window because he wants to walk behind the car so that
I'm extremely disappointed in America, by the way.
Why? Because nobody shot him.
Yeah, they've had a lot of good presidents, and almost all of them got shot, and then that orange bellend gets in charge. Nobody even tries.
It's because he's in charge of the bellends that usually shoot people.
Yeah, he's in charge of the hillbilly inbreds.
I
wasn't going to go that far, Jordan, but yeah.
Well, he's not wrong.
True. But yeah.
Right. Anyways, do you just want to laugh?
Our services, I think our agents, so like our services and stuff, do the same thing as well. I think we do trade intel. I'm sure there's things like we'll go and train with each other, and we'll trade intel. And it's like if an event happens in England, America will also start planning for if that event occurs over there and things like that. So you got to learn from your mistakes.
I know that special forces train together. The SAS train with like the American special forces and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would assume it would be the same for like top government agents as well.
Especially since
you want to be like elite, don't you? The best of the best.
Yeah, I'm sure that like they usually are like ex-SAS and stuff anyway, aren't they? They're usually plucked from the best of the best of the best.
This is how stupid an American is.
Go on then.
You don't even need to elaborate on that, but okay.
Yeah, that just sentence on its own is fine.
Thief with fake gun raided McDonald's demanding nuggets, but they were only serving breakfast.
I mean, sometimes you just got to try a look. Maybe it was early. The drive-through queue wasn't as big as he thought.
Right.
It's not as good to the people that robbed a bank with duct tape on their face.
Or one person there painted his face with UV light because they thought it would fuck with the security cameras, not realising people can see his face.
Can I please read this article? It's so funny.
Oh
no, it's not American, it's British.
Right, so you're slating Americans, and we're just well, not us personally, but
once you've done this, I've got the case of the best thief in the world. So you're doing the worst, I've got the best.
A man has been jailed after raiding a McDonald's with a fake gun, demanding to be given some nuggets.
Why didn't he ask for cash or anything?
Ruddy Batten.
Yeah, I know. Imagine going to jail just because you want 9 nuggets.
Yeah, going to jail. The inmate that you're basically in the cell with goes, "Oh, so what are you in for?" "Oh, trying to make some nuggets."
I try to steal the chicken nugget meal.
I want a
at breakfast.
nuggies.
That's something. No, I wouldn't be that stupid. Don't look at us like that, Stone.
Really?
Ruddy Batten from Gloucestershire had already robbed another takeaway the night before, making off with money and some fried chicken. When he tried his luck at a local Mackey's on the 8th of February.
Yeah.
The 22-year-old went to the branch of the fast food chain in Yate, banishing a fake gun and taking £50, or for you Americans out there, $69, from the till before demanding the store manager lead him to the safe.
Oh, so he did ask for money and stuff. He wasn't just there for nuggets.
He then asked
good.
for some nuggets, but had to settle for a double sausage McMuffin.
I like how it says he had to settle for it as if he had a choice. They can't exactly cook the fucking nuggets. They don't have them at that time. I mean, they could have cooked them nuggets. If you think you're getting you're going to get shot, I'm pretty sure they could have chucked a couple of nuggets in.
They would have had the previous night's batch.
Yeah, that's what it depends. I don't know if they've got the new health rules things in where they have to throw away batches if they've been overnight and stuff.
Because the restaurant was only serving the breakfast menu, so I take this was probably about
any time before 10. Basically.
Any time before 10. Well, what time does breakfast actually start?
10.
Because obviously it's 24 hours McDonald's.
No, breakfast ends at 10 a.m. I think.
Yeah,
and
doesn't it start at 6 a.m?
And it starts at no, yeah, I think it starts at 5.
Yeah,
6
it's
a.m.
6.
So
it was
between 6 and 10 a.m. So he picked his time frame.
A red tin contained £250 in notes and 2 float bags containing £100 each, and a bag of coins were taken during the theft. The incident caused nearby Ridge Junior School to go into... What the frick? Oh, yeah, right. The incident caused nearby Ridge Junior School to go into lockdown after terrified parents called the school reports of a gunman on the loose.
I like how the bit that confused is that someone tried to rob a McDonald's and a school went into lockdown. It's yeah, there's a gunman in the area. I think everywhere would have gone into lockdown.
Well, sometimes you just default into the American mindset.
There's a gunman on the loose.
Protect the schools.
As a result of the raid, the hapless criminal was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Got 6 years in prison for trying to nick nuggets.
I mean, he did nick...
I would go into McDonald's the next day. The next day playing smooth criminal.
I mean, to be fair, he did get money, so it's not too bad. Right, I'm gonna tell you about the best criminal.
Go ahead.
Who works for the KGB.
Of course.
This is a KGB agent who shipped a Sidewinder missile by mail to Moscow.
Sidewinder.
Sidewinder.
Hold on, how do you mail a missile?
This is the fantastic
Hold on, missiles fly.
This is the beautiful thing.
What?
This is a beautiful thing. The Soviet-made R3S air-to-air missile is a copy of the AIM-9B Sidewinder, originally developed and manufactured in the US. How it came to be isn't so well known for one specific reason. It involved the mail. The story began in 1958. The Communist People's Republic of China was preparing to invade the US. The US-backed Republic of China, aka Taiwan. In the course of related operations, the People's Liberation Army Air Force received the order to establish air superiority over several islands close to mainland China, still held by Taiwan's nationalists. When they were helping everything, the United States helped re-equip several squadrons of the Republic of China Air Force with North American F-86F Sabre fighter jets.
Go on, Kyle.
Which have the Sidewinder underneath, I believe. When they took to the skies, fierce clashes ensued because although outnumbered, Taiwanese pilots achieved a positive kill-to-loss ratio, but they found no solution for reaching the PLAAF's. They like talking about the fucking People's Liberation Federation thingy. Basically, the MiGs, when these operated at their maximum ceiling, they couldn't reach them, basically.
Yeah, because MiGs fly quite high. They're little stumpy things.
Yeah. Correspondingly, the Pentagon decided to equip some of the F-86s with its brand new missiles, the Sidewinder. The Americans took 40 of them and 40 launching rails down to them. Once there, the team jury-rigged 20 Taiwanese Sabres with them, while an improvisation in every sense of the word, the installation worked, and at least 4 of the Sidewinder armed Sabres saw combat. I'm going to skip a lot of stuff, but basically one of the MiGs hit by Sidewinders survived the clash and returned to base with the missile still embedded in its fuselage. The Chinese carefully dismantled the weapon, which had failed to detonate, and quickly forwarded it to the USSR for further analysis. Once in the USSR, the captured Sidewinder was shown to the government design team, led by Ivan Toropov. In the words of one of the Russian engineers, it represented a university of missile design for them. And they started to launch their own production after reverse engineering it. The way that it got to the fucking USSR, the way that the KGB managed to acquire this fucking shit, is by the mail. Exploiting thick fog and careless guards, Manfred Raminger, a KGB agent in West Germany, entered Neuberg Air Base, together with his Polish driver and German F-104 starfighter pilot. He stole an operational AIM-9 from the local ammunition depot and transported it down the entire runway on a wheelbarrow to his Mercedes sedan parked outside the base. So he went into a military base with a wheelbarrow, nicked a missile, wheeled it outside of the base,
with a wheelbarrow and a Polish
put it into
driver.
a Mercedes. It says the 2.9
yes.
meter long missile proved unwieldy.
Just a bit.
He broke the rear window and covered the protruding part with carpet in order to not attract attention to the police. He then marked the protrusion with a piece of red cloth, as required by the law.
Hold on. He smashed the back window.
Yeah, because it wouldn't fit in the car.
And then wrapped it in carpet. And then wrapped it in carpet so as not to alert the police, because when the police see somebody with a roll of carpet sticking out their rear window, they're going to think, oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
He could have just opened the boot, but he smashed the window to put the carpet in.
And the best part is, apparently there was a law saying you had to have a bit of red cloth on it as like a warning that it's there. So you put a red cloth on the end and followed the law.
The same as us. You're meant to put a rag if you have like ladders hanging over the back of a car or something.
He reached his home in Crefeld without any disturbance. He then patiently dismantled the Sidewinder. He kept the fuse for himself and personally handed it over to his KGB contact. Finally, he packed all the pieces into a box and then brought it to the nearest post office, from where he shipped it by airmail directly to Moscow. In order to avoid any problems with the German or Soviet customs, he declared the content of the parcel as being low-grade export, and due to the weight of the parcel, it charged him $79.
I was going to say, I don't know about the post over there, but the way it fucking is in England, it cost you a fortune. The post a dismantled missile.
Do you want to hear the journey this parcel took? It went from Frankfurt, via Paris to Copenhagen, then back to Dusseldorf, before finally reaching Moscow. 10 days late.
Well, I'm not surprised. It started by going away from Russia.
Yeah, it went out of Russia, into Germany, and then back into Russia.
No, what? No, he posted from Germany, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he posted it from Frankfurt. Yeah.
Yeah, but it went out. It went the other way. It went to France first, then it came back, then went to Russia.
Yeah, but yeah, it arrived 10 days late. I just love the fact that a spy managed to sneak into a base with a wheelbarrow, steal it, drive away in a Mercedes with it, and then post it via the mail, and then the mail nearly fucked it up by being 10 days late because they decided this parcel's going to Russia. Let's go to France.
That sounds like the Royal Mail, to be fair. And then charge you £70 for the fuel.
Yeah. Well, £76 for the weight.
Jesus. Yeah, if you flew it straight to Russia, you wouldn't use as much fuel, you bellend.
Yeah. And from that genius, shall we talk about another genius? Stephen Hawking.
Hold a second.
Yes.
I want to interject with something.
Go for it.
The generation now. Do you know how they're trying to cancel Eminem?
Whether?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Eminem's hit back.
Oh, Kyle, you've got no idea. You know what Eminem famous for ending people's careers, famous for cancelling people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, Eminem has hit back.
Some stuck-up teenagers try to cancel him.
Eminem has hit back at Gen Z for trying to cancel him.
It's about time.
Is Gen Z going to be cancelled?
Something happens against Eminem. Something happens against Eminem. Eminem doesn't give a shit for about 3 months, and then he gets bored and goes, "Nah, I might as well just fucking sort it out."
Right. So it says they came for our skinny jeans, then they came for our side parts. But when Gen Z TikTok users came for Eminem, it was the last straw for both millennials and the rap god himself. In case you missed it, Gen Z, also known as Zoomers, attempted to cancel 48-year-old Eminem because of his past lyrics, while seemingly being unaware of the hip-hop icon's past savagery, as well as the fact the rapper thrives on stirring the pot. More specifically, they took issue with his 20-time banner, "Love the Way You Lie." The song he did with Rihanna over the lyrics, "If she ever tries to fucking leave again, I'ma tie her to the bed and set this house on fire." The reason for this is...
I know
for that one lyric, I have 2 questions. 1, have they heard the rest of that song? 2, have they ever heard any other Eminem song ever?
3, have they heard any rap song fucking ever?
It says here, the reason for this is that they said it glorified toxic relationships and violence against women. Though they clearly didn't research enough to say that Megan Fox, who appeared in the music video for the song, donated her appearance fee to a woman's shelter for domestic violence. Rihanna even told Access Hollywood at the time of the song's release, "The lyrics were so deep, so beautiful and intense, it's something that I understood, something I connected with." For his part, Eminem also said at the time that he felt it was an issue that needed to be addressed. He said, "Trying to make this tough subject work visually is a challenge," he admitted. "It was great to have Rihanna and Megan on board for this. They really brought it and made this video super powerful." If Zoomers are clutching pearls over this line, who knows how they react if they ever listen to Stan or Kim.
Yeah, exactly.
Or most of these, almost anything.
Just any rap or anything like that. I mean, one of the songs that I listen to literally has a lyric of a guy who says he doesn't go anywhere where there's black people without carrying a Desert Eagle 50 cal.
I mean, that sounds like a
which, by the way, the guy who raps it is black himself. But his lyrics, it's like a massive collab thing, and one of his lyrics is basically, it's like a long string, but the whole thing is that he's got a Desert Eagle 50 cal with the red beam to keep you in his visual. So he's got a laser-sighted 50 cal just to make sure you don't do shit around him.
So, to cut the story short, basically how Eminem hit back was he said in his song, "I can't understand a word you say, I'm tone deaf. I think this way I prefer to stay, I'm tone deaf. I won't stop even when my hair turns grey, I'm tone deaf, because they won't stop until they cancel me."
I mean, they won't though.
You don't cancel Eminem.
Eminem cancels you.
Exactly.
Right. So, from the genius of Eminem to the genius of Stephen Hawking, apparently there was a rumour that Stephen Hawking would deliberately run over the toes of people he didn't like. Because, of course, you're in a mechanical wheelchair, why the fuck wouldn't you?
You moron.
What?
How much did he get?
85 quid.
You absolute moron, Jordan.
Jordan, mute your mic.
It
Yeah.
takes 7
you
to
need
10
me-
working days.
He's not got his
Don't
headphones
know.
on, he can't hear.
Where's that money?
Hey,
In my bank account?
And you're not going to spend
Gordon,
No.
it. So how much
fuck it,
is
I'll
that
continue.
then?
Jordan, mute your mic if you're having a
go on.
domestic.
Sorry.
You need to mute your mic if you're having a conversation.
Especially about losing money.
Fuck's sake. Right, go on.
Right. Yeah, so if you've got a mechanical wheelchair, of course it's tempting to run people's toes over.
Even if you haven't got even if you just got a normal wheelchair.
Yeah. Apparently someone told him about the rumour and everything. He denied the rumour by stating it was a malicious rumour and I'll run over anyone who repeats it. Because why the fuck not? Because he's a badass and no one can tell Stephen Hawking to do shit. Oh, God's sake. I can't even access the thing because it's on one of those... Here's a fucking topic. News websites. Don't make me pay a fucking £1 subscription to read one fucking article because you're pissy. Fuck off.
Yeah.
My Facebook also isn't updating for some reason, so I can't actually change stuff on my system. Yay! Space. Because I'm linking into Stephen Hawking, because he talks about space and like, reality and the relative theories and all that sort of stuff. Uranus and Neptune, what are they?
I know what Uranus is.
Other than innuendo.
What fucking sound can you hear me?
Go on, what are they? Because it's what people commonly think they are. What people commonly say they are.
It's because it's not a planet.
Yeah, well, it's... What type?
Oh.
Shall I help you? Gas giant.
Well, no, because... Right, yeah, so okay, I was getting confused with Jupiter.
So yeah.
No, but isn't Uranus made of ice and rock?
Well, that's the thing. Uranus and Neptune, they're commonly called like gas giants and everything because they've got gases and stuff on them, and because there was no real other term for them. But they are.
Isn't Jupiter the gas giant?
They do actually belong to a separate category of planets called ice giants, and it's because less than 20% of their mass is made up of hydrogen and helium, whereas true gas giants like Jupiter and Saturn are over 90% hydrogen and helium.
Kyle, I've just Googled Uranus, and it has a timeline, helpfully, on the right-hand side. It says Uranus planet, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Wiki, Uranus is the seventh planet from the Sun. Its name is a reference to the Greek god of the sky, Uranus, who, according to Greek mythology, was grandfather of Zeus, Jupiter, and the father of Cronus, Saturn. The interior of Uranus is mainly composed of ices and rock.
Yep.
At its brightest, Uranus is just visible to the unaided eye as a blue-green point of light. It has 27 known moons, most of which are named after literary characters. Then there's a little timeline at the side. 1781, Sir William Herschel observed Uranus.
It wasn't called Uranus originally either, it was called George or something, didn't we find out?
No.
Was that Uranus or was that a different planet?
No.
But there was a planet that was originally called George.
Yes, it was me that found that out, and it was going to be called. It might have been Uranus.
It was either Uranus or Pluto. It was one of them. I think it was with Uranus because we were laughing at the fact that they changed it from George to Uranus.
Right, I've Googled it.
Google the good old faithful.
Yes, it is Uranus. So it was originally going to be called George, named after King George.
Yes.
And then we decided at the last minute, actually, all the others are named after Greek gods, so we can't really just call one after a king that we're kind of like.
Yeah.
Also, when you Google Planet George to see, it comes up with George Asda, which is not helpful.
No, really not.
But apparently in 1791, so William Herschel observed Uranus.
What did you do? Bend over and look in the mirror?
Uranus. That's what I've learned today.
Is Jupiter the one with the rings around it?
Yes.
Right, because I couldn't remember if it was that planet or something else that I read this about, but those rings will eventually disappear. For the simple reason
it's an asteroid belt, isn't it?
It's an asteroid belt, but also with the planet's rotation, the way it's rotating and the way that asteroids are rotating and everything, because they're in they're sort of in a symbiosis, but they're not at the same time. One of them is spinning ever so slightly faster than the other. So over the course of millions of years, they are actually getting closer to each other, to the point where the rings will eventually just envelop and land on the planet. So it will be a case of its rings will vanish because it will have combined.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, at some point in the future, Jupiter will no longer have those very pretty rings that sort of differentiate it. It will just be a normal round planet like the others, although it might have a few bits of scarring from all the asteroids hitting it.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking. I read something somewhere, which I'm going to find out, about planets and the way they orbit the sun.
Is it every planet's getting closer, or every planet's getting further away? Because I think there's some sort of fragile equilibrium where we're going one way or the other. We're not in a perfect orbit, are we? There's no such thing as a perfect orbit. You're always either traveling a little bit further away or a little bit closer.
Well, the Earth's axis is off tilt now.
What was that, Jordan?
The Earth's axis is off a bit.
Every planet is though. Like even if ours is on tilt, even if you're perfectly straight, you're still not going to be able to do a perfect orbit because of different factors. So you're still always going to be ever so slightly inching away or ever so slightly inching towards it. There's no such thing as being in such a perfect equilibrium that you never move. It's like if you get a human to stand perfectly still, humans cannot stand perfectly still. Our balance factors and everything don't work like that. So even if you've got someone stood as still as possible, you'll still have them swaying a little bit. You'll still be able to see ever so slightly a little bit of sway in the movement, because it's impossible to stand perfectly still without being forced in, being crushed into a spot.
Kyle,
planets are the same. It's just a larger mass, so it takes longer.
Have you been spending a week in the jungle?
No, I haven't been spending a week in the jungle. Why?
Man went missing for a week in the jungle after drinking psychedelic tea.
I love it.
Right, here we go. I found it.
Aha!
It's really
Actually, I
hard
think it
to
might have been
find.
Stefan. It was a German.
What?
There was a man that went missing for a week in a jungle after drinking psychedelic tea, and he was German.
I can get on board with that.
It sounds fun, honestly. What you found, Stefan?
Right, I'll give you the headline. Is that Jupiter is so big, it doesn't actually orbit the sun.
The sun orbits it.
Kind of, but you have to bear with us on this. So it does still orbit the sun, right? It is huge. It's so big it doesn't exactly orbit the sun exactly, with 2.5 times the center mass of all the other planets in the solar system combined. It's big enough that the center of the gravity between the Jupiter and the sun doesn't actually reside inside the sun, right? So the point is that the sun, which I will have a look now, the sun's... Sorry.
No, it's fine. So I think I know where you're sort of going, because it's so big and because it's such a weight discrepancy and everything. It's not actually
right.
The center point is the center of the sun, like all the other planets in the solar system.
The Barry center between the Earth and the sun. So the Barry center is what they call it's the center of gravity, basically.
Yeah.
Right. The Earth's mass is very small. The sun's mass is a lot bigger. So the sun is almost like it says the sun is like the head of a sledgehammer. It's staying put while we just swing round it.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's got us on a string and it's spinning us. And that's because our centre of mass lies within the centre of the sun. The sun is much, much heavier, so it's like tying up 2 bits of string together and then pinging us around. It'll just keep going.
Yeah.
We're not strong enough to pull the sun away. So the Barry Center is the center of the sun. Now, the thing with that is, I did have it up before. What the sun's barycenter was.
I'm sort of demonstrating a very basic orbit with this bit of wire, but basically the central point is staying still while everything else is moving around it.
Yeah, the sun contains 99.86% of the mass of the solar system. The sun's mass is approximately 330,000 times greater than Earth. It's almost 3/4 hydrogen, and the rest is helium. And the sun is almost a perfect sphere. So, I did read somewhere as well that the sun is one of the most perfect. If I could be wrong. The sun is one of the most perfect spheres in the natural world.
Yeah.
Because and way more round than us than we can make. So if you imagine like a real round thing, like a ping pong ball is extremely round. But if you made that the size of the sun, tiny little things indents in the surface that we can't see would suddenly be huge mountains.
Yeah.
So even on marbles and things like that, like something we would consider perfectly round, if you scaled it up. So the sun, apart from the odd solar flares and stuff, is actually pretty perfectly round. But anyway, Jupiter is so massive that the center point, if this is the sun, the center point's here, and we go around it, Jupiter actually orbits and pulls it out, so that the barycenter, or the center of mass for the sun, when Jupiter's orbiting, is actually just above the sun's surface. So it doesn't actually technically orbit the sun. So
it orbits a point around the sun.
Yeah, when a small object orbits a big object in space, the less massive one doesn't really travel in a perfect circle around the larger one. Both objects orbit a combined center of gravity, so it's kind of combined around the both, which is why you get an elliptical orbit.
Yeah.
In situations we're familiar with, like Earth orbiting the much larger sun, the center of gravity resides so close to the center of the large object that the impact of this phenomenon is negligible. So, i.e., we just orbit the sun because the sun has all the mass.
Yeah.
The bigger object doesn't seem to move, and the smaller one just draws a circle around it. But reality is always more complicated. For example, when the ISS orbits Earth, both the Earth and the space station orbit their combined center of gravity. But it's the center of gravity is so absurdly close to the center of the Earth that the planet's motion around the point is impossible to spot. So the ISS follows a near perfect circle around the whole planet. So it's that the sun moves, but the ISS moves around it. It doesn't just move there and then crash into Earth as it moves.
Yeah.
And the same truth holds. So that's the way the sun is so much larger than the Earth, Venus, Mercury, or Saturn that the centers of mass all lie deep within the sun, almost in the center itself. But with Jupiter, it's so big that the center of mass with the sun, or the barycenter, is 1.07 solar radii from the middle of the sun, or 7% of a sun radius above the sun's surface. So both the sun and Jupiter orbit around that point in space. So I will quickly screen share, and there's a little
diagram.
Or figure.
I'll quickly screen share with you. There's a little like GIF. There's a little like, and it shows you that it actually pulls. It's almost like it's on two axes. It actually pulls the sun slightly off center. So if you imagine we're all circling the sun in a perfect circle, in the same way that the ISS and the moon circle us in not a perfect circle, but in a circle around our mass. But Jupiter's so big that it actually pulls the sun as it goes. You see that little?
I don't think your internet's gonna handle it because you keep on jittering anyway, and we lost your video earlier. We're just getting a grey cube.
Oh. It should be alright.
You can show it after. Everybody just Google the solar system, basically.
God damn it.
Google the center of mass for like the sun and everything.
But
yeah,
I'll send you.
I'm glad we've been educational.
For once.
Because we are randomly educational every once in a while.
Hold on.
Are you going to share it, Will?
Good. Right.
Will?
I'm going to share it with you, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to share it with you. Will?
No. I'm nearly asleep.
Yeah, Kyle. Anyway, I will.
Yeah. So yeah, we've been educational for once on little bits and pieces. It's quite nice. It's nearly time for us to actually finish, I believe.
We started at 2:45.
Yeah.
So it's not too long. So in which case, I'm going to quickly see if I've got anything else to do with this topic, which I think I do, which is in fact... Yes, yeah, it is.
That's exactly what I thought.
Sony's... Everybody loves a games console. And
yes.
Some people love it, some people hate it, but PlayStation was one of the best consoles.
Was...
Well, yeah, because it's like the PlayStation 1, the original PlayStation that I'm on about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
It was originally developed to be an add-on CD-ROM unit for the Super Nintendo. It wasn't even made to be a standalone thing.
Oh, yeah, so I heard this, and then basically Sony went rogue, didn't they, because they got pissed off.
Sony went rogue because Nintendo announced a partnership with Philips for the CD drive.
That was it.
One day before the SNES PlayStation was supposed to be announced by Sony. So
and wasn't the Laserdisc thing?
They'd been working with each other to make this, to make like the CD drive instead of a cartridge, a CD drive. What's it called? Fucking console. That's the one. Console.
Yeah,
so
keep going.
They'd been working. Nintendo and Sony had been working with each other to try and make a CD controlled console instead of a cartridge controlled console, and apparently Nintendo went behind the back and made a partnership with Philips and announced that they would use the Philips CD drive one day before the SNES PlayStation was going to be announced and so released. So Sony decided, okay, fuck you, we'll just go on our own. And they decided that they've got the CD-ROM and everything, they've made the prototype, let's just release it with our own name. So they did, and it became PlayStation. And I am ever so thankful that Sony was a pissy company, because they make fantastic consoles. So thank you very much.
You just said Sony was a pissy cunt.
They were.
Company.
I love them.
Oh,
why not? It's fantastic.
Yeah, Will. I'll put this in here, Will, and then you may be able to have a look as well. There's a little GIF that kind of shows how it works, because I don't really know how to explain it, but it kind of pulls the sun's orbit off. I learned that Sony is a pissy cunt.
It is a pissy cunt.
I learned don't go to McDonald's and try and thieve it for nuggets at breakfast time.
I mean, I learned that just by not being a social reject, but okay.
Yep. Basically. Do you know the reason why they decided to move from cartridge to disc?
No.
Finance?
Basically just memory. It's the same reason why discs are getting better and better, and why like we've got more and more space on memory sticks and stuff compared to the bloody NASA computer. The cartridge could only hold like 2 megabytes of memory or some of like that sort of range, while a cheap CD-ROM could hold over 600. So
yeah,
the whole thing was basically just keep forward with the times. They realised that games were going to need more memory and everything, so they had to move away from the cartridge. Which, funny enough, the cartridge had a warning on it saying, don't blow into it. It's the most ignored warning in the history of mankind.
It is. Well, because the vapor from your breath is moisture, and obviously moisture is bad in electronics, so if you blow into it, you could damage a cartridge.
However, it is what everybody did to clean it, and it worked. Right. I think we're going to end it there, because by the time we get through sponsors and stuff, it's going to be the 2:45. So I am going to... Will, do you want me to announce our side project and try and get some swing with it? I'll wait for your response.
Curl's swinging.
While I wait for the response,
Nah.
do not forget to. I'm assuming if you're watching, you've found one on Facebook. Well done. If you have been listening to us, I'm assuming you found her. Well done. You can also find her on many other places. If you want to find all of those places, simply search TakenOffAir.com. We have a website which will be doing a makeover at some point. But Jay's in charge of it, and unfortunately he's busy with work at the minute. So we'll be doing a transformation at some point, but it should have links to everything you should need: Spotify, Apple, Google, just anywhere that you can listen to podcasts. We should be there. It sounds like we're haunting you. We're not. We should just be there. It's also got a link to our merch store where you can find all the fabulous stuff that we have been wearing and displaying throughout the stream and throughout this recording session, with me and Stefan modelling the t-shirt and Jordan modelling the very comfortable hoodie. We also have caps such as the dad cap and the flat cap, or snap cap. Sorry, snapback.
Merch. Go have a look.
Yes, we have merch. Go have a look. You don't have to buy things to support with her. Simply share with, get your friends listening to her, get your family listening to her, get your fucking dog and cat listening to her. Honestly, just get people listening. That's all you need to do to support us. You don't have
all
to
the
spend
social links are on our website. Like Hal said, you can just Google TakenOffAir.com and you should find it pretty easily. All our socials are linked there, including Patreons, just Twitter and stuff like that. And the most important thing is to share us and to interact with us. So drop us a message, interact with us, like with stuff if you enjoy listening to it, and let other people know that we're here.
Yeah,
that's the main thing.
We do like interaction, so if you want to sling her a message, recommend a topic, just like give her some feedback, or literally just say hello, please do. It is always welcome, and we will happily sit there and we'll try and answer people. Some of us aren't on social media as much as others. I have never accessed the Twitter. I leave that to Jay and Stefan, because I don't really do Twitter.
Not me.
Jordan,
it's just Jay that does Twitter.
Jordan as well, if you can be bothered. Jordan, be honest. Have you ever accessed our Twitter?
Yes, I had as a second account on my Twitter.
Oh, holy shit! I thought you would have never.
So Jay and Jordan's in charge of our Twitter, because we don't have me and Kyle don't do Twitter.
Yeah, you've got more chance of probably getting me to reply on Facebook, honestly.
But even then, that's a chore.
Or just like
and Will said we have to keep our side project to another day, but we do have to plug his movie. So go and watch Will's movie, which will be out in cinemas in 2025, where it's revealed that Hitler is actually a pregnant woman. Yeah, Kyle's scrolling to find what movie it was.
I am scrolling to find the movie. No, the movie.
Oh, the other one. Sorry, it's the Jaws one.
Jaws of the Drones. Coming out in 2022, 1st of February 2022 in the USA. It is a horror. It is apparently going. It doesn't have.
I thought you took the piss.
No, unfortunately, it doesn't have any sort of plot or anything on IMDb, but it is on IMDb if you want to go and have a look. It's literally Jaws of the Drones. It looks quite funny and interesting just from the poster alone. So please go and check it out and support our friend Will, who is working on side projects.
Yeah, we'll share it on our socials as well, because it's okay. Genuinely. Sorry, Will, I thought you were messing about in chat.
I mean, he was messing about in chat, but he's also being serious. But yes, so...
Well, now we have to... He says he hasn't finished writing it, but now he has to go write one about Hitler being a pregnant woman, because I plugged that, so you can't let the people down, Will.
Yeah. 2025. Hitler as a pregnant woman.
Yeah, but we'll link Jaws of the Drones. That does look awesome.
If you, like we said, if you guys want to get in touch, we do have projects in the work for the future, so keep your eyes out on our social media and all that sort of stuff. Have a look, just find her, talk to her, do whatever you want, be you. Thank you very much for listening, because that is all that matters, is the fact that you are here listening to us rambling bullshit for 2 hours straight. How do you do it? How do you put up with us?
Hello, Kyle. Can you see?
I can see, yes. Stefan is now advertising it on the screen. So I'm going to say thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for paying attention to three idiots rambling on doing random stupid shit.
And for once, I'm actually rambling on.
Yes.
Today.
Go and check out...
You didn't realise that, Kyle?
What? I know you're looking at Will's thing.
I look at his filmography. He's got three films coming out.
No, one's already out.
Jackpot.
One's already out.
Is it? Is it already out? Anyway, we need to finish. Enough. We need to finish. Although one is Alien Vampire what?
Busters.
Alien Vampire Busters. I like it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, listening, all that shit. Thank you for putting up with our stupidity and us plugging shit. We'll see you all next week, where we hope to have you get in contact with us, or just enjoy, share, don't but we hope you like it, but you know what I mean. Share with your friends.
Right,
get
Cal,
everybody listening.
Stop rambling. Goodbye.
Talk to your friends and family by making them listen to it. That's what
Shut up.
Bye.
Bye.
God damn it.